Hello and welcome to the first video tutorial for calculus class. And this will be on calculator skills that I want you to be familiar with. The more you use this calculator, the easier this class will be. We will be using it all the time. So here's some of the things we're going to take a look at. Graphing, plugging in points into functions, looking at their tables, how to find the intersection between two functions, and then zeros, roots, and I should have added x-intercepts are all the same thing there. So we're going to first take a look at an equation, y equals 1/2 x plus 3. So we want to type that into the calculator. So when you turn your calculator on, you should sort of come to this home screen where there isn't anything. It might also be the app screen, which is this one. We're almost always going to be in the first one, the function. And when you click on it, you can either click on the screen or hit enter. It brings you to the symbolic view. You can also get there by hitting this button here, the symbolic button there. And we'll type our equation in. To type in 1/2, 1 divided by 2. It actually puts the fraction button there. Now as you can see, the cursor is at the bottom at the 2. I have to hit to the right to go back out of the fraction, where I can put in x, which is right here, plus 3. Hit enter, and now you can see that is now our function 1. And so that's the first thing. There is no y on the calculator. It automatically turns this into function notation. So it's being called f1 at x is equal to 1/2 x plus 3. So just remember that y and the function notation f of x are the same thing, and because the calculator can have many functions, it numbers them 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., etc. So now if we want to graph this, we can hit the plot button right underneath the symbolic button. And oops, there we go. And that will bring us a graph here. You can click around or move your finger, it's a touch screen, and move the graph all around how you want to. And once you have the graph, you can do a few things with it. If you want to find a specific point, like you want to plug in, say, 2 or 4 into the equation, let's plug in 8. Just type in 8, and it will jump to that value 8. So hit enter. Now you can see the cursor is over here at 8. And it tells us the value of f at 8 is 7. When x is 8, f is 7. And that's kind of important to us. One thing that you want to be able to do is how could you evaluate f of 8? And so we know that is going to be 7. You could do that in your head. 4 times 1/2 is 8 times 1/2 is 4 plus 3 gives us 7. So if we want to do another one, say f at -3, we just come over here and type in -3, hit enter, and it tells us f at -3 is 1.5. So f at -3 is 1.5. All right, let's do a slightly more complicated graph then. Oops, let me erase all that for us. There we go. Let's see, so we want to go symbolic again. Let's go to the second equation, f at 2. And we're going to type in x squared minus 4x minus 2. Hit enter. Now we have the second one. If we hit plot, we again get a graph. And if you want to move it around, you can. But it gives us a pretty good window there. So we could again plug in numbers. So let's make sure you have this little crosshair on there. I'm going to make sure the crosshair is on the red equation. That means I'm looking at the parabola and not the linear line. And so now if I type in a number, say 2, hit enter, it will tell me where that graph is at 2. So we now know that this is F2, and we plugged into is equal to -6. So we could also say plug in another number. Let's do 2.6. So I can come over here and do 2.6, enter, and you get -5.64 for f at 2. If I wanted to know the linear line, I could just hit the up button, and it'll tell me what 2.6 is on the linear for f at 1. You can see this change to f of 1. If I go down, it is now showing me what f of 2 is, -5.64. Well, now that we've got two graphs on here, we can do a couple more interesting things, like figuring out where do they intersect. It's one of the main skills that we want to have. So first, put the crosshair somewhere near one of the intersections. You can also just click there. All right, we can't get there exact by moving side to side, as you can see, but if you use the soft menu here, it's on the screen, so hit the screen menu, and then one to the left is function. It gives you lots of different things the calculator can do. And if you take a look, number 5, intersection, it will tell us the intersection, and then we got to tell it what intersection we want. We want to find an intersection of F2 and what else? In this case, we want F1. So either hit enter or tap on F1, and then it will tell you that that intersection happens at 5.422. Alright, and then let's do the other one. So click over here, tap over here near the other intersection, and we're going to do the same thing. Menu, oops, it was still there. Function, intersection. We want the intersection of F2 and F1. So we hit enter, and that happens at -0.9. So here's the thing, we have this intersection, -0.9, and oftentimes in this class we will want to do something with that number. And you don't want to just have to remember the number -0.9221. It will be hard to remember. So what this calculator does for us is that number is stored. It's an x value, so it's actually stored as x. So without moving side to side, if you hit home, and then bring up the number of the variable x and hit enter, as you can see, it stored that number, -0.922, and it gives you all the decimal points as x. Now sometimes we want multiple numbers like this, so what we can do is type in x, and then right here in blue you see STO, that stands for store. So we're going to hit the blue shift and the store button, the arrow, and we're going to store it as a different letter. So let's store this one as M. As you can see, there's an orange M right here. So I hit the orange alpha button and then the M. And it's going to take that -0.922 and store it as M. So now if I say go alpha M any other time, no matter what I do with the letter M, it will be -0.922. That's actually going to be very useful for us when we need to use these intersections in other procedures. You don't have to write down that whole number or remember it or type in all the digits yourself. You just have to type in M now. Alright, one more thing we want to be able to do. So go back to the graph, which is plot. We want to be able to figure out where these cross the x-axis. Alright, so let's go to F1. So right now I'm on F2, so I can hit down or up. So now I'm on F1. Where does F1 cross the x-axis? Yes, you could just count over here. It's a nice number, but if it wasn't a nice number, you would want something the calculator could do to calculate it. So go back to menu, function, And the one we want is number 4, root. A root is the same as an x-intercept. It is the same as a 0. If you remember from Algebra 2 or Algebra 1, those are all roots. So if I just hit root, it'll automatically tell me that the root is -6. That is the x-intercept. Okay, so let me put a few things on here. So we found the intersections and we found the root. Let's find the root of the other one. So I got to make sure I'm not looking at, hit OK. That's right, there we go, hit OK. So right now, I'm still looking at F1. So I'm going to go menu. So make sure you click away from F1 by going up or down. Doesn't matter if the cursor is not on the screen. Just make sure you're on F2. Hit menu, function, and then number 4, root. It'll tell us the first one, which is -0.449. And then if we want the second one, click over near the second one. So tap right there. Doesn't matter if you're on it exactly. You can't get it exactly just by tapping it. Function, root, and it will tell us that it's exactly 4.449. So mostly, whenever you need something, hit this menu button. A lot of stuff is here at function, and you should be able to figure out which one you need to use based on what you want. It's all pretty easy to get the calculator to give you the numbers if you can just search around and find the one you want. All right, so those are some main calculator skills that we will be using all year long.